Welcome back to Business Week on Arise News. Disruption to internet services for millions of users in Africa could take weeks or even months to fix following damage to undersea cables off the continent's coast. On Thursday, the West African coast, that is, 8 West African countries were suffering a second day of major connectivity issues on Friday, with users in South Africa also affected after damage to 4 subsea cables. The cable faults, which were mostly off Ivory Coast, come less than a month after 3 telco cables were severed in the Red Sea, highlighting the vulnerability of critical communications infrastructure in many parts of the world. I'm joined now live from our Lagos studio by KPMG partner and head of tech assurance, Lawrence Amadi, to discuss the implications of the latest development. Thanks for joining us again on the show, Lawrence. Great to be speaking with you.
Thank you very much, Rolake, and good morning to our Rise viewers. Good to see you and good to be back.
Indeed. My first question to you, Lawrence, is what actually happened? Help us understand what actually happened with these cable cuts.
So that's a $1 million question, Rolake. So today, nobody really knows the exact cause of the cut. But what we know is something has gone wrong with the connectivity. And just to educate our viewers a bit more, undersea cable, carries over 90% of data traffic, intercontinental data traffic. And the reason why Africa is in a very difficult situation about this is the cut for Africa may have happened at 2 ends. One, the West Africa coast that goes all the way, landing in Lisbon, landing in Spain, is severed. The second end for Africa, where you have Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, bordering the Red Sea, is also impacted. And, if we're just trying to look at the Super 7, I call it Super 7, you've got the Africa coast to Europe, the ACE, about 17,000 kilometer worth of undersea cable. You've got SAT, South Atlantic, that's about 13,000 kilometers worth of cable. There's a WACS, West Africa Cable Submarine laid. You have the Asia, Africa, Europe, about 25,000 kilometer cut. And then you have the CECOM, there's the EIG, which is a Europe-India gateway, and finally, Main 1. So this outage is major, and all the operators are falling back to their backup connectivity connections today.
Yeah, thanks for describing that. Quite an extensive global cable network. I think around the world, there's about 1.3 million kilometers of undersea cables. Now, if you think about the global maritime traffic, if you think about some of the issues that are happening with the Red Sea with Yemeni-backed Houthi rebel attacks, which have escalated in recent times, it's pretty clear that there's a great deal of vulnerability to the infrastructure, communications infrastructure around the world. What are the alternative options for delivering internet and ICT services to users around the world, including in Africa?
So very good point, Rolake. I guess the alternate is to then say, how do we enhance our alternate processing facilities that we have in country? We have the likes of Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and these are all hyperscalers. And these hyperscalers are highly vested in the subsea market. So one way is we've got to enhance the technology for the undersea cabling. And secondly, we've got to enhance the capacity, the local capacity for, data connectivity and broadband locally. If you go to some countries or some regions, you would find that there's a provider maybe called Echo. In the UK, there's an Echo. Echo supports Vodacom, they support British Telecoms, in connectivity, and they take that risk away. So outsourcing this service, will be one route. Also ensuring that the secondary capacity is solid enough. The providers of connectivity, data connectivity today, that are suffering the most will be the guys with a larger subscriber base, because you've got to look at this as a superhighway. If you have a superhighway that takes 8 car traffic, and you block out 6 lanes, and you leave out just 2 lanes for cars to move, That's where we are. So as an alternative solution, you've got to find a way to free up additional routes so that you can have more carriage for data traffic globally.
Yes, indeed. And in terms of freeing up additional routes, whose responsibility is that going to be? Is that a regulatory thing? Does the private sector need to invest? It sounds to me like a lot of these projects require both public and private sector cooperation, and indeed cooperation across borders. How is that actually going to work?
So very good point. We all see NCC put out a statement very early on when these cuts happened. So you certainly do need a public-private partnership to ensure that this works well. The likes of MTN, Airtel, and Glo have invested heavily in infrastructure that supports them. We've seen the likes of MainOne, issuing a statement to their customers, a force majeure statement saying, guys, something beyond our control has happened, and that's why our services to you may be impacted or disrupted. But that investment is required certainly by both private and public, and we've got to constantly ensure that capacity building, continues. You've got to keep expanding it, and you have to keep, ensuring resilience being factored into each of the constructions and each of the build.
Yes, indeed, Lawrence. Recently we spoke to the Minister for ICT and Digital Economy, Honorable Dr. Bosun Tijani, on the sidelines of the Davos conference earlier this year. And one of the things he mentioned was that Nigeria would be looking to invest in fiber optic connectivity across the country to the tune of about 2 billion naira or thereabouts. What do you think the impact of that will be on our ICT outlook?
So I think it's going to have a positive impact, because again, the reason why you keep banks, telcos, SMEs, all the businesses running is because of the ICT facilities and equipment. So we've got to have investments that keep, communication fresh. Some few years ago, it was CDMA, but due to obsolescence, TDMA is taking over, and you've got to look for newer technologies that would help us transmit data super quick, super fast. So that investment is certainly going to help us, expand on connectivity and also expand on capacity. And, businesses can't talk about it enough. If you bank with, one of the banks that leverage cloud solutions or cloud services, and the servers for the apps that they're hosting is sitting somewhere in Vancouver or in Amsterdam, you will be impacted. But if we get such investments, then I think it just helps us improve the alternative connection options available to customers and available to enterprises.
Yeah, indeed. There's clearly a need to make the options, a plethora of options. But there's one thing I want to ask you, which I don't know if you'll be able to answer. If we look at some of the recent undersea cable disruption, we've had this one that happened this past week with the West Africa cable system, MainOne, South Atlantic, and ACE being affected. In February 2024, 3 telecoms cables were severed in the Red Sea. And the U.S. data service is suspecting that this may have been due to a ship that was being maneuvered by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, accidentally cutting the undersea cables. And we also had some incidents last year around the mouth of the Congo River. Given the geographic spread of the global undersea cable system, is there really a global regime or regulatory or governance or monitoring body that can really prevent these types of incidences? Because, somebody who described these as an existential crisis because we become so reliant on internet connectivity, mobile connectivity. What can actually be done on a bigger scale to reduce the number of incidents that we see?
So that's a very comprehensive question, Rolake. And I guess to respond to this, first reaction would be the speculations or the rumors about, the Houthis potentially being behind this. I think the likelihood might be a bit low or slim, because to get to the seabed, you've got to have, super submarine facilities to get to the seabed. And these cables are running, under the seabed. So, it's going to take a lot to get there. Now to the question around, do we have regulation or potentially a global body that looks into this? I think there's a consortium already, the GSMA, with other regulatory bodies. There are a few engineering bodies who all just parley on a regular basis. And I'm sure when you have the fora like the WEF, they get together and talk about how you continue to ensure that the world is connected, how you ensure that every single person has a voice and that voice is heard, how you ensure steady eyeballs for valuable information that educates, and that improves lives. So those bodies, I guess, have to keep coming together and they have to keep looking into the ways and means that ensures that we keep the seaways and the waterways safe and secure. We know the superpowers in the world all have submarine capabilities. Now, as they move around, we've got to ensure that they are safe spaces. Same way you have, the safe airways, you've got to create safe seaways. And I know when they build this undersea cable, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. And I believe most submarine ship captains also would have a clear topology, undersea topology, of how they move around underwater so that they can help, minimize these cuts. Precisely in 2018, there was a cut that happened. It took out about 10 African countries. It lasted for 48 hours. We don't want to have such instances because you can blindside the world and you hamper communication, which is not good for business.
Yes, indeed. Not good for business, indeed. And the point I was making about the Houthi rebels, they didn't say the Houthi rebels had deliberately attacked. I think they said a ship that they were maneuvering had accidentally cut one of the cables. So it was just a point of clarification that I wanted to bring there. Lawrence, thanks so much for your insights. It's really interesting how dependent our ICT infrastructure has come to be on these global undersea cable systems. We do hope we can find a solution, and actually locally and regionally within our African countries, we need to build more locally and regional internet connectivity for users across board. Thanks so much, Lawrence Amadi, partner and head of tech assurance at KPM Nigeria.